नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा। Last time we had started our discussion on chapter number 18, and we had discussed text number 1 to 12, that is freedom from bondage through Saran Yoga. Now we are supposed to discuss text number 13 to 17, the 5 factors behind the action. So we'll discuss this particular section today. This is text number 13. पंचेतानि महाबाहो कारणानि निबोधन् शान्ति कृतान्ते प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. So in the last class, we had discussed that what are the main problems with karma. Anyone remembers? Anyone remembers what are main problems with the karma?
Prabhuji, you mentioned that there are 3 problems, that identification, attachment, and expectation.
All right. So identification means doership mentality, thinking that I am the doer. So Krishna will address this particular aspect in now this section, text number 13 to 17. So this will address and help one to understand that how we can be free from this doership mentality. Originally, actually, it starts with identification or doership mentality, and because of which we become attached to what comes, and then we want to enjoy what we have received. So now Krishna will say that actually there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan is writing that why do those who perform action not obtain results which are binding to this world? This happens when a person gives up the doership attitude. And how he can give up doership attitude? When he is in knowledge, when he understands that there are 5 reasons or 5 factors behind the action. Same thing Srila Prabhupada also is saying. But how can a person in Krishna consciousness does not suffer or enjoy their action of work? Why? Because he knows that there are 5 causes of all activities, and for success in all activity, one should consider these 5 causes. And the ultimate control is invested in the super soul. So because he knows the five causes behind the action, that's why he's not affected by the doership mentality. And that's the reason that he does not get the reaction of action which he does. So now Krishna will explain these five causes of action. So this is one of very important verse. Adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha prithakvidam vividascha prithak cheshta devam chevatra panchamam. So Krishna is saying these are the five causes behind the action. Adhisthanam tatha karta karanam cha prithakvidam vividascha prithak cheshta devam chevatra panchamam. There are few verses of Bhagavad Gita which, if we can remember and always have in our memory, meditation, then they are very helpful. One of such verses is this one, where if we remember this, then we will not become proud, we will not get affected by worship mentality. Krishna is saying Adhisthanam. So Adhisthanam means the places, the place of work, which in our case can be body or any place of work. Then Karanam. Karanam is instruments, senses. Srila Prabhupada is translating instrument. Then Karta. Karta is the person, the worker. Then Cheshta. Cheshta is endeavor. And then Devam. Devam is the destiny, the supreme law. So these are the five causes behind the action. So Adhisthana is the place. Then Karta is the worker. In our case, we as a soul. And then Karanam is the instruments. So instruments means, it can also mean senses. It can also mean skill set. It means competence, what one has. Or it can also mean resources. And then Cheshta. Cheshta is efforts. And then Devam. Devam is destiny or luck, whatever we call it. So these are the five causes behind the action. Adhisthanam, Karta, Karanam, Cheshta, and Deva. So we see that when these five together are helping individual, then he is able to get a success. So generally we find in the material world, people, they consider only one parameter for success, that is efforts. Most of the time, if the child is not getting good marks in the exam, then the parents, they will say work hard. If the employee is not performing good in the company, the employer will say work hard. Or we also have this kind of thought process that if I'm not doing this, then I have to work hard. But this is one of the parameters. There are other parameters also. So out of these five, three can be changed, two cannot be changed. So there are five parameters behind the action. Out of them, three can be changed and two cannot be changed. So these two cannot be changed. One is karta, because in this life we have this body, but we as an individual soul will remain same. So karta will not be changed. And in this life, whatever karma we have or destiny we have, that also we cannot change. So when we talk about karma, destiny, that is what we are receiving from our past life. So whatever we have received from our past life, and depending upon our karma. So when a living entity takes birth in the material world, from prarabdha, a prarabdha, Brahmaji takes out some prarabdha and gives, which we have to spend. Got connected. So whenever any result is not coming, then one can reflect on these three parameters. One is adhisthanam. So one can see is his place of work is hospitable or inhospitable. That is adhisthanam. And second is karanam. So one can see the work he is doing is incompatible or not. Third is test. One can see whether efforts he is putting is sufficient or insufficient. So whenever result is not coming, one can reflect on these three. One is inhospitable place, second is incompatible work, third is insufficient effort. So inhospitable place means that place is not suited for success of that particular activity. Like suppose somebody wants to become a cricketer, but then he's in America. So in America, cricket is famous as an insect. There is one insect whose name is cricket. So if you want to become a cricketer, then they will not encourage you. And everywhere you will find people discouraging you. Everywhere you will find people laughing at you. So then that is not a proper place. Or if you want to learn Sanskrit in America, you are in America and you have a desire to learn Sanskrit, then also you'll be thoroughly discouraged like that. So that is inhospitable place for that particular activity. Whereas if in India you want to become a cricketer, so much encouragement will be given and so much appreciation will be given. So that is a more suitable place. Like somebody is very intelligent, but then he is in a very remote village. So he is very intelligent and he can do much more, but then being in the remote village, that place is not helping him to do what more he can do. So that is the meaning of seeing the place. And second is karana. The work which we are doing, is it compatible with my senses, with my skill set, with my competence? So if it is, then we'll be able to perform that work more better. If not, then it is difficult. So that is how our Varnashrama system was there for this purpose. So in simple terms, Varnashrama means internally comfortable and externally competent. This is Varnashrama. So as per Varnashrama, one is supposed to choose a work where he finds internally comfortable and externally comfortable. Like you will find some devotees, they are not so good in singing. So if you tell them that Prabhu please sing, then internally they become uncomfortable. And externally they are not competent also. So when they will sing, they will forget something. When they sing, they may not properly perform something. Whereas those who are singers, you tell them, Prabhu, आप मंगलारती गाएंगे? हाँ प्रभु जी, माइक लगाइए. They are very comfortable internally. and they are competent also, they will sing also very nice. Okay. So any activity where you are internally comfortable, externally competent. So why Varnashrama was so beautiful? Because if you are feeling internally comfortable and externally competent, then you become happy with the activity itself. You don't desire for reward. Like a Brahmana would feel very happy getting opportunity to study the scriptures, to memorize the verses. You find Bhima, he would look for opportunity to fight. ऐसा नहीं कि भीमा वुड से कि अगर मैं फाइट पे जाऊंगा तो कितना लक्ष्मी मिलेगा. नो, ही वाज हैप्पी विद एक्टिविटी इटसेल्फ. उसको हाथ में itching होता था when I'll get opportunity to fight. So internally he was very comfortable with fight, and externally he was very competent also. His body was strong, his skill set was good. So one has to see that his work, is it compatible with his skill set. Sometimes, especially in India, most of the parents, they push the children to go for engineering or medical. But then many times they may not be good at this. And you'll find a person flourish much more when he takes an activity which is compatible to him. That's why you find there are cases where a person drop outs and then he starts a business and then he becomes much more successful. And later on, he may hire engineers and doctors in his company, like that. So one ashrama says that everyone is having a talent. So one has to know his talent and which direction he can go. So some of us may say, okay, Prabhu, but we can learn. Yes, we can learn, but not in all aspects we can learn in an equal way. There are certain aspects where you can very quickly learn and you can learn into a great extent. But whereas there are other extent where you can't learn, it's a hard struggle for you to learn. And even if you learn, you can just become an average person in that area. So that is incompatible work. And third is insufficient effort. So even the work is compatible and the place is hospitable, but then we are not putting our right efforts, then also we will not get result like this. So these three parameters are in our hand, which we can work upon. And whereas Devam is not in our hand, that is how the Supreme Lord will make it unfold, and it is our destiny coming from the past life. So now what the Shastras they say, when we look at past, that time we should see destiny. When we look future, that time we should see our free will. So destiny is not for justifying our irresponsibility. Destiny is for rectifying what we did wrong in the past. So there is a beautiful pastime in Mahabharata that before the war, Vyasa, he tells to Dhritarashtra that please stop your son Duryodhana, otherwise all your sons will die. And that time Dhritarashtra tells to Vyasa that if it is destined to have this war, who am I, a small soul, who can stop it? So then he does not hear the good advice given by Vyasa. And then war happens and all the sons they die. And then Dhritarashtra starts lamenting, hi, all my sons they died. Then Vyasa says, don't lament, it was destined. So you see, before the war, Vyasa is telling that please stop your son. Otherwise, all your sons will die. And Dhritarashtra is saying, if it is destined, who am I who can stop it? And then after the war, Dhritarashtra is lamenting and Vyasa is saying, don't lament now, it was destined. Like that. So you see, Vedas are so beautiful. Neither they give a scope for irresponsibility, nor they give a scope for lamentation. So when you have time, you exercise your free will. And when it is done, understand that it was destined. After the event happens, whatever happens, that is the will of the Lord. But before the event happens, you have to exercise your free will. Like this. So when we look at the past, then we say destiny. But when we look future, then there is a scope of free will. Now, how a devotee is not caught up in the feeling of being a doer, because he knows one thing is the foundation of all these parameters is Deva, is Supreme Lord. So whatever skill set a living entity has, whatever strength a living entity has, everything is coming from God. And then even after having a skill set and talent and strength, resources given by God, even after that, before doing an activity, we need permission of God. That's why it is Devam, Lord sanctions. So as a sanctioner, he is always one of the parameter. But then before that also, it is Lord who has given us strength. It is Lord who has given us intelligence. It is Lord who has given us resources. So knowing this, a devotee is very humble. Knowing this, a person is very humble that actually I am not doer. Everything is given by the Supreme Lord. एंड ही इज ओनली सैंक्शनिंग कि ठीक है जो मैंने आपको दिया है आप उसको यूज कीजिए एंड देन दैट्स हाउ द रिजल्ट कम्स सो वन थिंग इज इन रिलेशन टू seeing these parameters we have to have this proper understanding that we don't become irresponsible on the name of destiny. At the same time, we don't lament why good things are not happening in our life, knowing well that there is a destiny. So we see in Mahabharata when the Pandavas they were sent to Lakshagraha. So when the Pandavas they were sent to Lakshagraha and the attempt was made to burn all of them in the fire. So somehow or other, by good advice of Vidura, they make a tunnel underground and they escape. So after this incident, Yudhishthira Maharaj becomes very alert because they thought, they never thought that they can go to this extent where they can make a plan like this to kill us. So now he becomes very alert that now we will not just put faith on whatever proposal they give. So they become very alert means which aspect they are working of these three, who can say? Adhisthanam, Karanam and Chesta. Out of these three, which aspect they are working?
Karanam.
Karanam. Karanam. They become very alert. So then they are working on Karanam. Now, then Yudhishthira Maharaj thinks that if we go now and tell them that we are alive, then again they will make an attempt to kill us. And we are so helpless and weak, we can't do much. So he tells the Pandavas that we will not reveal to them that we are alive. First, we will become strong. And how we can become strong? They get an offer that from Panchal Desh, there is an offer of marriage of Draupadi in the Draupadi kingdom. So Yudhishthira Maharaj gets a thought. If somehow or other we can win hand of Draupadi, then Draupadi king will become our something relative. And that means we will have a strong alliance with Draupadi Maharaj. His army is our army. So he will become strong. Again, he is working on Karna, making his competence more strong, making his presence more strong. So we know that Arjuna goes and then they win over and then Draupadi Maharaj becomes very happy and Draupadi was hand is over. Now after this, then they come to Hastinapur. And we see that before that all the Kauravas, they thought, all five of them are dead. So they do all Anteshti Samskar, there be distribution of food to all the Brahmanas. And when Yudhishthira Maharaj, Pandavas, along with Draupadi, they come, so then they become very surprised at how they came. And not only they become surprised by seeing them, they become more surprised seeing that now Draupadi Maharaj is their relative and they have win over Draupadi in marriage. So now Yudhishthira Maharaj works on another principle. He knew that there is no point in being together with Kauravas because they have such hatred that they are going to this an extent of killing us. So then he becomes ready that better we have a separate place. So Dhritarashtra says, okay, let Kauravas rule here and we will give you Khandoprasth to all of you. So now he is working on the second place, that is Adhisthana. Let us change the place. because this place is not good suited because they have extreme envy for us. So staying here, we will increase their envy, and time and again they will make a plan to kill us. So better we change the place. That is, they are working on now second aspect, that is adhisthana. Now after they go to Khandaprast and then they make a huge palatial building. And when the opening inauguration happens, that time they call Duryodhana and all. Now seeing that building, they become very envious. And then the gambling match happens, and then the Pandavas, they lose everything. So now they go to the forest. So when they go to the forest, again you see Rishtra Maharaj, so amazing. See, whatever happens to him, he never laments. But in relation to future, he is always very responsible. So when he goes to the forest, so that time he tells Arjuna that now we have to be ready for the war. There is no other option left because they are going to such an extent that now we have to have a war. And for having a war, we have to prepare ourselves. He tells Arjuna, you go to Lord Shiva, you go to demigods and take all powerful weapons because in time to come to fight with these Kauravas is not easy. So then he prepares Arjuna. So now they are working on Karna. And Yudhishthira Maharaj himself starts learning to play gambling match. Because he was knowing that again they may call me for gamble. And Yudhishthira Maharaj had a rule that if a superior is calling me, I will not say no. So he was knowing that if Duryodhan takes help of Dhritarashtra to call me again for gambling, so now I should learn gambling properly so that I don't lose again. So he's also working on improving himself, his karnam. So they are doing chesta also and improving their karnam also, like this. So we see that this is how the Vedic life is. We don't see Pandavas becoming irresponsible. We don't see Pandavas lamenting, हाय हाय हम लोगों के साथ ऐसा कैसे हो गया, हम तो 16 माला करते हैं, 4 नियम पालन करते हैं, फिर भी हमारी सेंटर में आग लगा दिया, हाय हाय. They don't say like that because whatever prarabdha we have, that will come. Obviously, in their case, it is not prarabdha; they are pure devotees. But in our case, whatever comes is our prarabdha only. Same way, see in case of Prabhupada also. Prabhupada tried to preach in Jhansi, it did not work. Prabhupada changed it to Delhi, did not work. Finally, Prabhupada thought, before dying, let me try in the West. And instead of London, he went to New York. Someone asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, why you did not go to London? Why you went to New York? Prabhupada said that there is a saying that because there was already failure in London when the disciples of Bhakti Sansudi Thakur they went. Srila Prabhupada was telling that there is a saying we should try to fail at a new place. We should not try to fail in the same place. So because already there was a failure, so I wanted to try a new place. So you see, Prabhupada went to New York. So that is Adhisthana, changing the place. And then we see Karna Prabhupada, was working how if I want to preach in America, then I need English books. So he was working to translate Bhagavad Gita, he was working to translate Srimad Bhagavatam. So in that way, he was making Karna, his resources ready to preach in the Western language, in the Western world. Then just how much efforts Prabhupada was giving at that age. He was getting up midnight, translating his books, traveling to so many places, meeting so many people, not losing any opportunity to spread Krishna consciousness like this. So this is how we see a devotee is always hopeful and exercises free will as far as future is concerned. And after doing his best, whatever comes, he takes that as mercy of the Lord. So this is one aspect. Second aspect is, as I was saying, that how a devotee is not affected by doership mentality because he knows everything is given by God and then God sanctions, then things happen. Who am I? I am just a humble instrument in the process. So this is very nicely explained by Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan. Okay, so he's talking about these 5 causes. So here one thing is mentioned here is Devam refers to Param Brahma, worthy of worship by all. He is the 5th element in the accomplishment of action among the causes of action. This means that the Lord Hari, the Antaryami, is the chief cause. So even if all the parameters are set right, but if Lord is not wanting, then we'll not get a result. Lord is not sanctioning, we'll not get a result. That activity will not produce result.
The screen is not visible.
Okay. So those who know that the body, senses, prana, jiva are the only assistant causes. So prana here is chestha. Senses is karna, body is place. For this sthanam, karnam, chestha, and jiva is karta. So they are the only assistant causes, and the Lord is the initiator of action. Those people who thus reject the desire for result for themselves and the concept of being a doer are consequently not bound by the action. This is the meaning. ये है जो बहुत important aspect है इसका. So now whatever 5 things we have, adhishthanam, like this body, is given by whom? God. Not only it is given by the God, it is functioning because of God. See, we are able to see because there are Dig Devatas and they are under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are able to hear because of God. We are able to digest food because of God. So this body is given by the God and this body is in action because of God. Then the senses, again, they are given by the God. Whatever the abilities we have, whatever the skill set we have, they are given by the God. Not only they are given by the God, they will be functional by the mercy of the God. Sometimes somebody is a good singer, but if God wants him to not sing, he'll not be able to sing. Sometimes the quality of singing also will reduce if God does not want him to remain a good singer. Like that. Then the chesta, effort. Like same individual, you will find at one time he may be putting efforts worth 10 hours a day. Same individual, we don't know what happens. He's not able to put even 4 hours effort a day. Why? Because now God is withdrawing his capacity. That although God has given him that capacity to put efforts, but now God only is also taking care of the functional aspect of that capacity. And we all have experienced. Some of us, there was a time where we would study 10 hours a day. And now 2 hours a day study may become difficult. Right? And then the doer, the jiva. So jiva also part and parcel of God. So one has to know that they all are coming from God and they all are also functioning because of God, and then God is a separate cause also. Is in terms of destiny, in terms of luck, in terms of sanction. So knowing this, a person does not become proud, thinking that I am the doer. A person does not become proud, thinking that I am the cause of the result. It is Supreme Lord. And we see that if God wants, somehow you happen to speak in certain way, we all have experienced, even good speakers. There are times where we don't prepare classes. There are times where we just sit and speak and very nicely things come out. And there are times where we prepare and things don't come out. You feel, kya ho raha hai aaj? Although capacity is there, everything is there. But why? Because God is withholding because of certain reason. Like this. So we see that whatever we are able to do is by the mercy of the Lord. And when Lord wants, things happen. If Lord does not want, things does not happen. So that's how a devotee knows that whatever intelligence I have, even this body, skills, resources, everything is done by the Supreme Lord. The devotee is always thankful and grateful to the Supreme Lord. That my dear Lord, it is by all your mercy. And that's why whatever result comes, devotee does not think that this is my result. Devotee thinks that this result belongs to the Supreme Lord. Because I have not done anything. Everything is done by the Supreme Lord. He only helped me to work hard. He only sanctioned it. So the result also belongs to him. And because of this understanding and this consciousness, while performing action, Jiva is not bound. Because he is rightly situated in performing the actions. But if the Jiva's action depend on the Lord, his action becomes mere engagement by the Lord in fulfillment of the Lord's role. Jiva is simply like a piece of wood. The rules and the prohibition of the scripture meant for the Jiva would then be useless. It would not be possible to initiate action by one's own intelligence, since it is seen that the Jiva is simply made to act by the Lord. तो अभी कोई ये बोल सकता है, तो ऐसे तो कल को कोई कुछ भी कार्य कर रहा है तो उसमें बोल सकता है आई एम नॉट डूअर, you know, this person I killed, Krishna made arrangement, I am not the doer. So what the point here is being explained is that God gives the body, God gives the senses, God gives the intelligence and other resources, and God gives the free will also. So God gives the free will that now you choose how you want to use them. And if a living entity says, okay, I want to use them in this way, then God through scriptures guides the living entity that, you know, this is not the good way. But living entity says, no, I want to do this only. Then God sanctions says, okay, you do it. But because living entity used his free will to use these resources, and God is providing the resources, and God is also activating the functionality of these resources. But because Jiva used his free will, Jiva is hold responsible. God is not hold responsible. Like one devotee was giving example that when you call a auto wala person, you call him, Bhaiya, idhar aiye, the auto wala person comes. And then you sit in the auto, you tell the auto wala person that take me to the station. And you are sitting behind. Who is working hard? Auto wala person is working hard. वो पूरा drive कर रहा है, सब कुछ auto वाला कर रहा है. लेकिन लास्ट में पैसा किसको देना पड़ेगा? आपको देना पड़ेगा. क्यों? क्योंकि डिजायर आपने एक्सप्रेस किया कि मुझे कहाँ जाना है, स्टेशन जाना है, ऐसा. तो जीवा जो है उसका फ्री विल है, और जीवा फ्री विल यूज करता है, और लॉर्ड उस फ्री विल को फैसिलिटेट करते हैं. तो इसलिए जीवा जो है उसको रिस्पॉन्सिबल होल्ड किया जाता है, जबकि सब कुछ कर भगवान ही रहे. तो यहाँ लिखा है द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड सिचुएटेड विद इन ऑल द जीवास गिविंग हिज परमिशन फॉर द एक्शन टू द जीवा सेट्स द एक्शन ऑफ द जीवा इन मोशन. The jiva by his intelligence can choose to act or not to act. He is not at all forced to act in a particular way by the Lord. तो ये डिफरेंस है. लॉर्ड ने हर जीवा को फ्री विल दिया है, करते भगवान ही है, भगवान ही सब कुछ दे रहे हैं, लेकिन फ्री विल आपको दिया है कि आपको करना कैसे है. तो अगर जीवा बोलता है भगवान मेरे को ड्रिंकिंग करना है, तो लॉर्ड सैंक्शन करते हैं. लॉर्ड जो है सारी इंद्रियों को एक्टिवेट कर देते हैं कि प्लीज फैसिलिटेट हिज ड्रिंकिंग प्रोसेस. एंड देन आपकी इंद्रियां जाएंगी, बोतल उठाएंगी, पिएंगी, आंख देखेंगी, टंग जो है उसको लिक करेगा. बट बिकॉज वी चोज एन एक्टिविटी विच इज अगेंस्ट द स्क्रिप्चर्स, वी हैव टू सफर लाइक दिस. So a jiva is not forced to act in a particular way by the Lord. This is supported by the author of Vedanta. Paratat chakte. His powers come from the Supreme Lord. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कंसेप्ट है. देयर वाज वन पर्सन इन बॉम्बे, वो क्या करता था, लोगों को मारता था, बोलते थे गॉड इज मेकिंग दिस हैपन थ्रू मी. He would kill innocent people and he would quote this verse. अधिष्ठान करता था, God is making this happen through me. I am just instrument. Yes, sir. So we cannot justify like this. God is doing everything that is correct, but as per your desire. That's why you are hold responsible. God is facilitating you. You are not doer, that is true. But you are responsible because you desired it. Lord is not forcing you to desire this, that you should kill him. Like then he's making a point, but then at least the liberated jiva should not be the agent because he no longer has a body, senses, and the pranas. So then it is mentioned, no, in his case, he is given a spiritual body and senses. So even for liberated person also, God only remains the foundational cause for every action and the result of the action. So in both cases, God is the foundational cause for the action and the result of the action. But because the jiva is given a free will, he is held responsible. So this, and then Krishna says, Sariravan manobhiryat karma prarabhate narah nyayam va viparitam va panchayate kasya hetava. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind or speech is caused by these five factors. जो भी एक्शन हम परफॉर्म करते हैं, चाहे राइट हो चाहे रॉन्ग हो, वो इन 5 पैरामीटर्स के माध्यम से होता है. तो अब वो राइट और रॉन्ग का क्या डेफिनेशन बताया गया है, तो वो आचार्य बताते हैं, जो शास्त्रों के अनुसार है. न्यायम मीन्स अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्क्रिप्चर्स एंड विपरीतम मीन्स नॉट अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्क्रिप्चर्स. अब ये लिविंग एंटिटी के पास में चॉइस है कि उनको न्यायम करना है या विपरीतम करना है. सो राइट और रॉन्ग, बट बोथ आर डन because of the supreme power. But a living entity can choose whether you want to act as per the scriptures or you want to act against the scriptures. And text number 16. तत्रेवं सति कर्तारम् आत्मानं केवलं तु यः पश्यति अकृत बुद्धित्वान् न स पश्यति दुर्मति. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. So somebody who is foolish, who does not understand and thinks, I am the only doer, then he is bound by the reaction of karma. So he is called a fool, Durmati, because of lack of knowledge, because he can't see that he is not the only doer, there are other parameters. And he is like a blind man. So he is bound in the network of reaction of action. And then the last verse. Yashya na karto bhavo buddhir yashya na lipyate etavapi sa iman lokan na hanti na nibhadyate. And then this is the now conclusion of this particular section, text number 13 to 17. That one who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills man in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by that. ये श्लोक वो कोट करते थे जो बॉम्बे में सीरियल किलर थे. Although he kills, but he does not kill, nor is he bound by his action. ऐसा. तो इसका रूपा जी का एक रिपोर्ट है. रूपा जी लिखते हैं, in this verse the Lord informs Arjuna that the desire not to fight arises from false ego. Arjuna thought himself to the doer of action, but he did not consider supreme sanction within and without. If one does not know that a super sanction is there, why should he act? But one who knows the instrument of work, himself as the worker, and the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Sanctioner, is perfect in doing everything. Such a person is never in illusion. Personal activity and responsibility arise from false ego and godlessness, or a lack of Krishna consciousness. Anyone who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the super soul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though killing, does not kill. तो ये difference है यहाँ पर, ये बहुत important है. और एग्जाम्पल दिया है सोल्जर का. What is mentioned here is there are two things. One is sanction of the law. So as far as sanction of the Lord is concerned, here person is acting as per his choice and Lord sanctions whatever he wants to do, right? This is one aspect. Second aspect is one is acting in the direction of the Lord. Here he is acting on behalf of whose choice? Lord. So he is not hold responsible for anything. Whatever he does. Here he is hold responsible. Why? Because he is deciding. But in the second case, he is not hold responsible. So if Krishna is telling to Arjuna that you kill, and Arjuna is following Krishna and is doing that activity of killing, Arjuna is not bound even by that activity of killing. So example is given like a government tells the soldier go on the border and kill, and soldier kills. He is given Paramveer Chakra award. But if a same soldier comes home and finds his wife shouting and kills the wife, now same government will put the person behind the jail. Because previously he was killing on behalf of government. Now he killed for his selfish interest. Like this. So this is very important. So when it is mentioned that person even by killing does not kill anyone, is for which person? Who is not motivated by false ego. Who is acting on the basis of Lord's will. Only for that person it is mentioned like this. So same thing is explained. So this is Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur who is saying, who then is intelligent with good eyes? One who does not have a nature of ahankara, ahankrito bhavaha, who is not thinking himself the doer, who is not attached to actions by thinking the action will give good or bad result, does not obtain the reaction of karma. What else can be said? Though he may do a pious or sinful act, he does not do them. He does not get bound by them. Though it may appear from ordinary vision that he has killed all the living entities, he does not kill from his own vision because he has no motive for the action. Therefore, he is not bound. He does not receive the reaction of karma. So in his case, he does not have ankara. Free from ankara means he has no choice. He wants to just act on the behalf of God. And then whatever he does, he is not bound by the reaction. And he knows everything is happening by the supreme will and because of the law. He is not expecting any result. He is not doer. So that's why he is not contaminated. So Jiva Goswami is beautifully explaining this. Now someone may say that, okay, I am killing this person and actually it is God's will. God only told me to kill him. So one thing Jiva Goswami makes it clear. He says, this principle mentioned here is not universal but conditional. Jiva Goswami explained that this verse only applies to a devotee who has fully realized that Krishna is the supreme controller. ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां हृदयसी अर्जुन तिष्ठति. तो भगवान किसको डायरेक्शन देंगे? जो पूर्ण रूप से शरणागत है. तो ये वर्ष सबके लिए अप्लाई नहीं है. वो क्या बता रहे हैं? ये वर्ष सिर्फ उन लोगों के लिए अप्लाई है जो पूरी तरीके से भगवान को शरणागत हो चुके हैं. उनको भगवान गाइड करेंगे और जो भी भगवान बोलेंगे वो कर रहे हैं. दे विल नॉट बी बाउंड बाय एक्शन. Such a devotee acts only as a instrument, nimitta matram. Therefore, the non-doership here is not for everyone. But for one whose buddhi is completely purified, only he can say that whatever I am doing is by the will of the Lord. Second बोलते हैं instrumentality, not autonomy. The devotee is like a fruit in Krishna's hand. ये analogy देते हैं वो. Hollow without independent agenda. The moment someone acts on personal desire, they are no longer an instrument but an independent doer and therefore bound. तो जैसे वो डिजायर अपना अलग एक्सप्रेस करते हैं, भले भगवान ही कर रहे हैं, भगवान ही सैंक्शन कर रहे हैं, लेकिन दे आर होल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबल एंड दे आर बाउंड. But when someone is free from false ego, someone is like a flute in Krishna's hand, then whatever he does is considered that will not bound him. And in general, Krishna will never give a direction which is against the scriptures. So someone is killing innocent person cannot be justified in any way, because Krishna will never give a direction which is against the scriptures. Now some of us may say, but why Krishna told Yudhishthira Maharaj to speak a lie? In that also, what Shastras they say is, when there are two dharmas, so that in that situation we have to select upper dharma. So that also is as per the scriptures. Like we hear the story where a cow was running away from a butcher, and a brahmana, when the butcher asked the brahmana, where did the cow go? So brahmana thought, how I can speak a lie? And brahmana hinted that this direction the cow went, and that became a adharma actually, because although he spoke truth, but then that was not supposed to be spoken at that time. Protecting the life of a cow was more important. So same way when Krishna is telling to Yudhishthira Maharaj to speak a lie, and he in one way Krishna was not telling to speak full lie, it was a half truth, because Bhima had killed Aswathama the elephant. So why? Because that was for higher dharma, to establish religion, to kill all the irreligious people. So we never see that Krishna will speak something which is against the scriptures, because the scriptures are coming from the Lord himself, and even God, he gives instruction as per the scriptures. So no one can justify this verse saying that I am just following the will of the Lord. But when somebody is free from false ego and he wants to do what Krishna wants to do, then actually he is not bound by the direction of the result. And that's why a person in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says, externally he may appear to be active in the same way like a materialist. But difference is the materialist is getting bound and devotee is not getting bound. And devotee is not becoming proud because he knows I am just a humble instrument. Everything is happening by the mercy of the Supreme God. So this is the essence of this particular section. Hare Krishna. So if anyone has any question to ask, they can ask. Yes, Akash.
Okay, thank you. Prabhuji, can you please again explain this? What is the difference between sanction and order of Lord, and how one is when Lord is sanctioning, then the doer have to take responsibility whatever he is doing. But when Lord is ordering, then doer he don't hold any responsibility. So I couldn't understand difference between the sanction and order of the Lord. Because if Lord is coming from Lord, then it may be same order. Either it is sanctioned by Lord or is ordered by Lord.
Yeah, so sanction means what is, like I have a desire to do something. Suppose I go to a superior and I tell Prabhu, I want to do this. And they say, Prabhu, it is not good to do this. And we say, no, no, Prabhu, I want to do this. Don't worry. Please sanction it. So sanction means it is my desire I want to do in certain way, and Lord is sanctioning it. ठीक है, आप कर दीजिए ऐसे. But when Lord is giving instruction means it is Lord's desire. Like that. जैसे कई बार लोग सवाल पूछते हैं कि प्रभु जी एक पत्ता भी नहीं उठता है, हिलता है बिना भगवान की इच्छा के. करेक्ट, वो सुनते हैं. फिर ऐसा क्यों होता है कि कई बार कोई डीमन आता है, डिवोटीज को मारता है, ऐसे पास्ट टाइम्स आते हैं ना. तो वो जो डीमन डिवोटी को मार रहा है वो गॉड का डिजायर नहीं है. वो गॉड का विल नहीं है, वो गॉड का सैंक्शन है, क्योंकि उस पर्टिकुलर डीमन का वैसा कर्मा है, तो गॉड उसको सैंक्शन करते हैं। बट डिवोटी बीइंग बीटन बाय सम डीमन इज नॉट गॉड्स डिजायर, इज नॉट गॉड्स विल। तो ये फर्क है, आया समझ आपको?
Yes,
यस
Prabhuji.
मयंक।
यस प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी, ये अधिष्ठानम का मीनिंग ट्रांसलेशन में बॉडी दिया है, और ये हम लोग, ये आप बता रहे हैं प्लेस है, तो बॉडी भी होता है या फिर सिर्फ जो फिजिकल सराउंडिंग जहाँ हम रह रहे हैं उसी को बोलते हैं अधिष्ठानम? मतलब सोल
नहीं,
बॉडी रह रहा है लेकिन।
या अधिष्ठानम जो है बॉडी भी है, प्लेस भी है। अधिष्ठानम इज द प्लेस ऑफ वर्क, ऐसा है। तो उसको ब्रॉड सेंस में देखेंगे तो प्लेस है, और लोकलाइज सेंस में देखेंगे तो बॉडी है।
यस प्रभु जी। और प्रभु
ऐसा।
जी एक चीज और, ये दैवम जो है वो पर ब्रह्म ही, पर ब्रह्म क्यों नहीं लिखा है वहां पे? ट्रांसलेशन में सुपर सोल हम बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन वो दैवम डेस्टिनी और लक को हम सुपर सोल से ये कर रहे हैं। एक
हाँ, तो आपका जो डेस्टिनी है वो आपको कौन देता है? सुपर सोल ही तो देता है।
हाँ।
Lord comes as a super soul sitting in our heart, and He is the one who has taken that service of sanctioning as per our destiny.
यस प्रभु जी। ठीक।
That role is played by the super soul.
यस प्रभु जी।
Yes, Pawan.
Prabhuji, you mentioned that when anyone is doing some misdeed, because he is exercising his free will, so he is held responsible, not the Lord. But then we can apply it in the wrong manner also, that when we are doing some good things and result is coming out, then also we can say that we are held responsible. Lord is just making the arrangement by the same logic.
Correct. Correct. You are hold responsible when you are doing something good also. That is correct. But उसमें आपको फिर पाइटी मिलेगा, आपको पुण्य कर्म मिलेगा जो आपने किया है। और जब आप कुछ बुरा करते हैं तो उससे आपको पाप कर्म मिलेगा, तो उसका आपको जो है सफरिंग मिलेगा। तो उसको आपको आपको जो है उसका पर्टिकुलर फल मिलेगा। लेकिन दोनों ही केस में आपको होल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबल इसलिए किया जा रहा है क्योंकि आपने वो डिजायर चूज किया है। लेकिन वो आप पाप भी इसलिए कर पाए क्योंकि भगवान ने फैसिलिटेट किया। जैसे चोर है, उसको चोरी करना है, तो उसको कौन बुद्धि देता है कि इस दरवाजे से मत जाना, उस दरवाजे से जाना, ये चाकू लेके जाना, ऐसे चोरी करना। सब तो भगवान देते हैं ना बुद्धि। वो चोरी भी क्यों कर पा रहा है? भगवान फैसिलिटेट कर पा रहे हैं। तो उसमें भी वो डूअर नहीं है चोरी करते समय भी। आजकल देखो ये ऑनलाइन थीव्स बहुत सारे आ गए। बड़े बड़े अच्छे अच्छे इंटेलिजेंट लोगों के पैसे जो है वो ऑनलाइन में लेके चले जाते हैं। तो उनको इतना बुद्धि कैसे देते हैं? उनका डिजायर फैसिलिटेट क्यों हो पा रहा है? भगवान ही कर रहे हैं। करेक्ट ना?
Thank
लेकिन
you.
क्योंकि उन्होंने डिजायर किया है तो दे आर होल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबल एंड दे विल गेट द रिजल्ट।
Prabhuji, a little bit confusion was there, just like you mentioned that analogy of tempo. So just like if we will see in this case little meaning, then if a person is going to do some misdeed and this driver knows that he is taking me for some wrong cause, then the police catch him also that why you supported him. So if you
एक्चुअली देखिए क्या है, एनोलॉजी जो होते हैं ना वो कुछ कंसेप्ट को समझाने के लिए होते हैं। तो एनोलॉजी को आप किसी भी एनोलॉजी को ऐसे आप एक्सटेंड करोगे तो वो नहीं होता। पर्पस ऐसा नहीं कि एनोलॉजी कंसेप्ट है। वो एनोलॉजी का एक ही पर्पस है, ये समझाना कि कैसे व्यक्ति ने डिजायर जो है उसको एक्सप्रेस किया, और वो व्यक्ति चुपचाप बैठा है लेकिन बाद में पैसा उसको पे करें, लाइक दैट। So we desire, and then Lord facilitate that desire through three modes of material nature, through all the material resources. But we are hold responsible. We are given that protection. लॉर्ड जो है वो कोई जिम्मेदारी जो है नहीं रहती है। लेकिन अगर हम लॉर्ड के बिहाफ पे कुछ करते हैं तो लॉर्ड जो है वो पूरा जिम्मेदारी लेते हैं। जैसे सोल्जर जो है अगर गवर्नमेंट के बिहाफ पे कुछ भी होता है उसको सरकार पूरा जिम्मेदारी लेता है।
just
ठीक
one
है।
more question that you mentioned this, but I asked many times, but this remains confusing always. That's like you mentioned that when something has been done, then we see that it's uh, our destiny. But when something we had to do, it has not happened, then we had to take the responsibility. But always we find the cases of devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, also Abdesh Maharaj, they are not preparing. That you said that Yudhishthira Maharaj prepared for the fight, but we can see like the cases that Prahlad Maharaj is there, Amrish Maharaj is there. So they are not preparing. They are just depending whatever will happen.
हाँ, तो इसमें क्या रहता है, अगर आप 3 गुणों के परे हैं तो फिर आपके लिए अलग सेट ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं शास्त्रों में। आप 3 गुणों के अधीन हैं तो आपके लिए अलग सेट ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन। तो जो 3 गुणों के परे हैं उनको कुछ नहीं करना है, दे विल बी टेकन केयर बाय द लॉर्ड, ऐसा है। लेकिन अगर हम 3 गुणों के अधीन हैं तो फिर हमको अलग तरीके से इंस्ट्रक्शन दी गई हैं कि आप इस तरीके से काम कीजिए, ऐसा। तो उनका वैसा विश्वास है, अगर हमारा भी 3 गुणों के हम परे हैं, वैसा हमारा भगवान के प्रति विश्वास है, तो हम अगर एक जगह बैठे हैं, कुछ मेहनत नहीं कर रहे हैं, कुछ काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, सब कुछ हो जाएगा, हमें कुछ करने का जरूरत नहीं है। तो शास्त्रों में अलग अलग स्तर पे इंस्ट्रक्शन दिए गए हैं। आप देखेंगे संन्यास में भी कुटी चक्र है, बहु चक्र है, परिव्राजकाचार्य है, परमहंस है, सबके लिए अलग इंस्ट्रक्शन है, करेक्ट ना।
Thank
जैसे
you,
अम्बरीश
Prabhuji.
महाराज के बारे में भगवान को पता था कि इनके अंदर इतना प्योरिटी है, मेरे ऊपर इतना विश्वास है, भगवान को पता था कि एनिमी इन पे आक्रमण करेगा, ये रेडी नहीं है, तो भगवान ने पहले से सुदर्शन भेज दिया था कि इनकी आप रक्षा करना, ये तो पूरा दिन भक्ति करते रहते हैं। तो वैसा भक्ति भी तो होना चाहिए ना, कि भगवान जो है उसको इतना स्वीकार कर रहे हैं। आर्टिफिशियली नहीं कर सकते ना ये सब। जैसे अगर मैं रिस्पॉन्सिबल हो जाऊं और मैं सोचूं कि मैं 24 घंटा माला जप करूंगा, तो 2 घंटा माला जप किया, फिर लेट रहा हूँ यहाँ पर, फिर वहां लेट रहा हूँ, आर्टिफिशियली थोड़ी ना हो पाएगा। भक्ति जो है वो एक नेचुरल डिस्पोजिशन है, उस तरीके से जो व्यक्ति कर पाता है प्योरिटी के हिसाब से, भगवान की कृपा के हिसाब से, ठीक है।
Thank you,
तो
Prabhuji.
हमारे लिए एक्शन से ही हमको एक्शन को प्योरीफाई करना। यस आकाश जी।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु। प्रभु जी, एक छोटा सा और डाउट था, लाइक देयर इज अ फिलोसफर हु सेज कि ये हमने 5 चीजें यहाँ पे पढ़ी किसी भी एक्शन को लेके, बट देयर इज अ फिलोसफर हु सेज कि सब मन ही है, जैसा सोचोगे मन, आदमी जैसा सोचता है वैसा बन जाता है। तो वहां पे तो ऐसा लगता है ये 5 फैक्टर का निगेशन हो रहा है। तो और बहुत सारे लोग भी ये मानते हैं, जैसे और जो फिलोसफर्स हैं उनका भी रहता है कि बाकी सब मिथ्या है, हम जो मन में सोचते हैं वही सामने प्रतीत होता है। तो इस चीज को अगर कोई ऐसे आर्गुमेंट करता है तो कैसे उसको जवाब दे सकते हैं, या कैसे और अच्छे से समझ सकते हैं?
नहीं तो ये 5 पैरामीटर्स में कर्णम में आपका माइंड भी आ जाएगा। तो जो 3 है जो आप बदल सकते हो, उसमें कर्णम है, उसमें माइंड है। नेचुरली माइंड को एक स्पेशल पोजीशन शास्त्रों में दिया गया है। माइंड इज द पिवट ऑफ ऑल सेंसेस। तो आपके कर्णम में सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट रोल जो प्ले करता है वो आपका माइंड है। सारी इंद्रियां जो हैं उसके अधीन है, सारी इंद्रियां जो हैं कंट्रोल में है माइंड के। तो नेचुरली माइंड का डिस्पोजिशन कैसा है वो बहुत फर्क करता है, बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करता है आप किस प्रकार से अपने कर्णम को यूज कर पाते। जैसे अगर हमारा माइंड अच्छा नहीं है तो हम अपनी इंद्रियों को यूज नहीं कर पाते पर्टिकुलर तरीके से या पर्टिकुलर कार्य के लिए। तो वो तो शास्त्रों में उसको इंक्लूड किया गया है माइंड को, करेक्ट ना। Okay, Aman
ओके
Tiwari
प्रभु।
is asking, is the idea look in past and look destiny and look in future, look free will, is the mental adjustment, how to understand? ये mental adjustment नहीं है, ये है कि हमें नॉलेज में कैसे एक्शन करना है। जो शास्त्रों में जो भी चीज दिया जाता है वो एक नॉलेज है, और उस नॉलेज में आकर उस नॉलेज को समझ के फिर हमें देखना है कि हाँ ये सही है। तो ये एक आर्टिफिशियल मेंटल एडजस्टमेंट नहीं है, ये हमको ज्ञान में सिचुएट करने का एक तरीका है। एक्चुअली दिस इज द वे हाउ अ पर्सन शुड फंक्शन एंड दिस इज आइडियल ऐसा। इसलिए आप देखो ना, व्यास इज एबल टू फंक्शन। बाद में लेमेंट कर रहे हैं, व्यास लेमेंट नहीं कर रहे हैं। आप सेजिस का इतना ब्यूटीफुल रहता है। यहाँ पर जो है वो मर जाते हैं रामायण में, कौन, दशरथ महाराज। सब रो रहे हैं, ये हो रहे हैं, वशिष्ठ बोल रहे हैं चलो जल्दी से करो, इनका बॉडी सड़ेगा, पानी वानी लाओ और भरत को बुलाओ, आग लगाओ। वो बेचारे एक्शन में है अपना, कभी लैमेंट नहीं करते सेजेस आते। महाभारत में इतना बड़ा वॉर हुआ, युधिष्ठिर महाराज लैमेंट कर रहे हैं। और व्यासा को आप देखो, अभी रो क्यों रहे हो, गया डेस्टाइन था, मर गए सब, चलो ऐसा। एट द सेम टाइम वॉर से पहले दे आर डूइंग देयर बेस्ट समझा रहे हैं कि आप इसको रोको, आप इसको रोको, आप इसको रोको, ऐसे। तो डेस्टिनी जो है बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स चीज है, लेकिन हमारे लिए क्या है कि हमें जहां तक हमारे हाथ में है, वी ट्राई टू डू अवर बेस्ट, बट आफ्टर द इवेंट हैपेंस, देन वी लीव इट टू कृष्णा एंड वी आर हैप्पी विद व्हाटएवर टर्न ऑफ इवेंट टेक्स प्लेस। ठीक है, हरे कृष्णा। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच। शिल प्रभुपाद की जय।